Hello and welcome to another ranking video. I haven't done a ranking in a long time. Like what long time? Besides the Christmas end of year ranking, but I do this like brand specific rankings a lot. And today I thought it's time to rank my beautybay palettes because I think I haven't done it yet. If I was able to count, I have to rank 13 palettes. I already piled them up here in front of me, so I'm not holding them up because they're quite heavy. Most of them are the 42 pan palettes that beautybay has that, by the way, are an amazing quality. And just think about the fact that you can pay less than 30 money just to get 42 pans of eyeshadows. It's an amazing deal. By the way, before we start into the video, today's lip of the day is the Belle's lip oil from the Colourpop X Twilight collection. And the whole look is the Twilight collection. Starting off this list at number 13, and therefore surprisingly my least favorite beautybay palette is the Earthy. But the thing is, that is all because of the color story. This is the definition of warm, muddy greens with warm, I don't know, fall colors. This palette actually looks like a forest in the transition summer to fall. Do I love this? I absolutely do, but I just do not like colors like that. And I haven't filmed the video, and you, of course, therefore haven't seen the video. Or have I? Well, when you see the video, chances are high that I already filmed it, but I'm planning to focus this year on some specific palettes that I will put on like a chopping block vibe. I will go into detail in that other video, but this is going to be one of them because I'm not really sure if I really want to keep this or not. I feel very inspired when I look at this. I feel very happy and I can envision a lot of looks, but maybe you can even tell a lot of these shades are untouched. And that is mainly because I not only barely used it, it's mainly because I am just so thrown off by the color story that I don't want to use it. So if I have the choice to use this or any other of my 190 whatever palettes, it would be the other one. At number 12, and the reason is also not because I use it so much. Here the reason why this is ranked higher is mainly because I just have much more variation and I see the value in this palette as being a good companion palette. And I think every makeup collection, everybody who's wearing more than like 2 eyeshadow looks in a week needs a rainbow companion palette. And for me, this is the Bright Matte palette. This has every single colorful eyeshadow pan that you can imagine, including a row of neutrals to blend them. I am honest with you, I have touched this palette maybe once or twice since I have it, but this just serves the purpose of being a companion in my collection. Sometimes when I do certain looks, I need a certain colorful shade that I just want to add, and then a palette like this just comes in handy. I think I was able to create maybe one look with this. I mean, if you stay in a row, you have beautiful monochromatic colorful looks, but again, this has more so the purpose of being a companion. Same actually with number 11, which is, I would say, the brother of the Bright Matte, and it's the Bright 2.0. This is also a colorful palette, and I'm honest with you, some of the shades in here double with the Bright Matte, but this has added shimmers to it. So this palette is, in my opinion, when you are looking for a bright use only palette, so not a companion palette, but a all-in-one palette, I'd say go with this. What I love about this Bright 2.0 especially, not only do you have the beautiful colors and the gradients going on, but again, you have your black and white that with rainbow palettes like this are, in my opinion, absolute necessities. At number 10, we have a smaller Beauty Bay palette. This is the Retro Matte. This was their limited edition palette last year for, not Retro Matte, Retro Love, for Valentine's Day, yes. And what I love about these limited edition palettes, they always come with two color stories. So like you have 2 rows a color story and then next row is the other color story. You can of course mix and match. I think this is a beautiful palette, but I'm just, you know, this is a muted color story with weird muted things going on. I like it more than the other 3, but I'm honest with you, if this palette would just vanish in my collection, I probably wouldn't think about it in a long, long time, but for whatever reason, when I just look at it, I kind of want to use it now. So it still has kind of a purpose. It still has this excitement that I look for in palettes. But I'm also honest with you, this is not the type of palette that I gravitate to every day. If this would lay here and somebody would say you have to use it now for a whole week straight, I can use Beautiful Looks and I wouldn't be mad about it, but it will never be a fave. Surprisingly enough, that at number 9, the Beauty Bay Neutral beat all the colorful palettes, but this palette, this is the type of neutral eyeshadows that I love. This has a tiny bit of warmth going on. This has a tiny bit of cool going on, but mainly this has a very, very wide spectrum of what I call classic nudes. And those classic nudes, in my opinion, do range from pinks to browns to blacks over grays. Everything is in here. You have warm shadows, cool shadows, neutral shadows, blending shadows. You have brightening shadows. You have browns, orange in a way of like more of a terracotta color. You have pinks and slightly mauve purples going on here. This is such a beautiful palette. And I'm honest with you, if you, what the fuck's going on with the mirror? If you do not have a lot of eyeshadow palettes and you are just looking for that one neutral eyeshadow palette because you are just with a heart, with your whole body and life, a wearer of neutral eyeshadow, not warm, not cool, neutral, this is it. This is everything you need. At number 8 is the eyeshadow palette from Beauty Bay that complements my eye color the most. It's the Berries palette. This is just 42 pans of pinks, reds, and purples. I love it. Just looking at it brings me so much joy that I would love to smear these all over my face. At number 7, we have not the newest Beauty Bay release, but the one that came for Valentine's Day this year. This is the Reckless Romance. And this has a similar vibe in color story, like Berries, well, at least in this 2 rows here, but it also has this. The Reckless Romance palette just kind of hit a sweet spot that, in my opinion, defines the makeup trends of 2024. We have a lot of grungy, cool tones. This is what 2024 is all about. We have seen it already, and I think this palette is just a great mix out of 2 worlds, because when you just cover these 2 rows, you are left with these 2 very cool toned black and gray with pops of pink rows, or like reddish, whatever color you want to say. But when you pull in one of these like older trends with the pinks and the warm brown over here, then you just get the best mix out of them all. At number 6, we have an eyeshadow palette that probably does, I don't know, people are afraid of it. They have fear, I don't know, towards it. Is it so? But blues can be very intimidating, and the Midnight palette, oh boy, this is a dream for purple and blue lovers. You can create so many amazing looks, and because you have the black and a nearly white, this has a super light pink tint to it, you can customize every single shade in here. This is a blue-purple color story of my dreams. I love it. At number 5, this is also a newer release. This came out, I don't know, I think it was after the fall release. It was somewhat between like fall and Christmas time, but the Rich palette. Holy fucking cannoli. If you are a lover of warm browns that do not turn into poo-poo on your eyes, and you love wine colors and golds and sophisticated adult golds, this is it. This is it. This is such a hugging palette. I would love to smear it all over my face now. This is just the effect that Beauty Bay palettes have in general. I'm honest with you, not every single color in here do suit me, so when I just especially look up here, those 5, they turn into poo-poo on my skin tone, but everything else in here is just such a fucking hit. It is what it is. This is a rich palette. You will get rich looks, rich, smoky, warm, golden, sophisticated, elegant, but glam looks. You see, I cannot say enough good things about them. Number 4, and this might be because of my just obsession with this color, but the Fury 2.0 palette is just what I love when I think about, and I know this sounds super weird, but wearable reds. Even though this is actually a fire color, this has not one true red. You have this one, but let's be honest, this is not a true red. This is a neon red. This is punching you in the face. This is just beating the shit out of your face and then will leave you in the streets and let you die. This is this type of red. This is a staining red. If you apply this, you will have red skin for the next 2 weeks. But it makes sense in this palette. This is a fire palette. When I look at this, I see a big fire. I see barbecue. I see a bit of chaos and destruction actually, but I love it. The looks that I was able to create with this palette ranged somewhat between soft, warm with golds and maybe a pop of yellow going on, but also dark, intense, fiery looks that will make others shit their fucking pants. At number 3, and I can't believe it, this was the first Beauty Bay palette that I tried because when I saw the color story, I was in that, let's say, cyberpunk era. Is that the right description? Kind of. Like cyberpunk, not in the way of this all, metal and stuff, more in the way of I wanted to glow. I wanted to have makeup that glows in the dark, and the dark fantasy palette did not really meet that. But for whatever reason, when I think of cyberpunk makeup, I think of this. I don't know what it is, but you have some really cool takes on the blues over here. I mean, look just at this trio of blue, silver, and the matte blue. Absolutely amazing. This definition of greens. And again, you have 2 color stories in here, but I would go even further and say that you can split up the whole palette into 6 pans. So for example, you can just look at these 6 pans, or you can look at this 6 pan. You can use this 6 pan, or you can create beautiful looks with this 6 pan. You can divide the palette even in quads if you like, because everything, the way it is kind of done here, works. Even when you go across this imaginary line here in the center, You can use this quad, and this quad, or this 6 pen and this 6 pen. Everything in this palette makes sense. I think this is such a well executed color story that I actually should use it again. Number 2 and number 1 were really, really hard to choose. But I listened to myself. I listened to my heart. I thought about it at night. I thought about it in the morning. Just kidding. But I really thought about it because there is something about the palette that I choose to be number 2 that just makes me incredibly happy. But there is also something about the palette at number 1 that just outbeats every other palette from beautybay. Number 2, and you saw hopefully my video with the 3 looks, is the new Smoky palette. This is such a well done gray color story. I cannot say enough good things about this. And I said it, hopefully, I haven't filmed the outro for the video yet, so hopefully I said it. If not, I say it now. If you were on the fence, if you want to buy a Natasha Denona Xenon palette for a 73 euro here in Germany it is now, or buy the Beautybay palette, and here I wouldn't even say that it matters if you want to buy the 42 pan or if you buy one of the smaller versions, the 9 or the 16 pan. I say go for Beautybay and not for Natasha Denona. This is much better executed. This is much better in variation. This is a much more thought out color story. Natasha Denona Xenon is beautiful, yes, but it's not as well done as this. The looks are very similar, not gonna lie here, but I like this more. I like this so much more than the Xenon palette, and the Xenon is my favorite Natasha Denona palette, so that's a lot. But at number 1, you probably already guessed it. You predicted it. When you clicked on the video, were like, oh, come on, Ella, we already know what your favorite Beautybay palette is. Metamorphic. And I'm so bummed that they haven't brought out a new palette in this style, or maybe not the packaging style, because I hate that it claps open like that, but the formulation. Because from the mattes to the shimmers to the multi-chromes, this formula is different to these or to the formulation in these. And I really, really hope that Beautybay keeps up this formula, because first of all, this is a virtual robot dream. I think that's a good definition of this palette. It gives off straight Izamaya Industrial 2.0 vibes, but in my video about the palette, I just showed you that there are like 2 shades that are similar. They are completely different. But the texture, the shades, I mean, look at the prism shade. I want to lick it. Future, everything in here is just so beautiful. And oh boy, this is the palette, this is the cool tone violet palette of my dreams. Have you tried Beautybay shadows? If not, what the fuck is holding you back? There is just like no excuse for you to not try them. And you know me, I barely say, you have to try that, you have to buy that, you have to. Here with Beautybay, I just say, if you haven't tried these, I'm honest with you, you are truly missing out. And I totally understand when you say, you know what, Ella, these big palettes, I mean, they're bigger than my head. These big palettes are too much for me. No problem. Beautybay is clever. With every of these monochromatic color stories that they bring out, they give you 3 options. You have a 9 pan palette, a 16 pan palette, and a 30 pan palette. And do you know what's even better? You're not missing shades, because the 30 pan palette is basically the whole palette. The 16 pan is a condensed version, and the 9 pan is even more condensed. So basically the 9 and 16 pan palettes are built out of existing shades in the biggest version. So it's not like there are shades that are maybe exclusive to this size. No, 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 no. It's all the same color at the end. So there's no excuse for you to not try them. You should really do it. And Beauty Bay has all the time friggin' sales. I just cannot recommend these enough. So let me know down below, what is your favorite Beauty Bay palette? No matter if you tried it or just from looking at it, which one could be a favorite for you. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe and all that shit. And I will see you in the next one.